we'll start with this because I know we have some pretty distinct opinions on this topic about how much coaching matters and how much a head coach or a coach can affect a team or make a bad team good, a bad team better, etc. So we lead with more gushing for Mike Vrabel. There's been a lot of Mike Vrabel gushing these last couple of weeks, certainly. And that was Colin Cowherd talking about the culture and equating him to Dan Campbell and already seeing it. And so the leadoff question, I'll start with Greg, is are we putting too much on Mike Vrabel? Are there too much expectations just on the head coach alone, and are we overdoing it?
I would say no, because I think just where the Patriots have been the previous couple years, I just think that Vrabel brings the floor up so much for this team. I mean, I think talent determines the ceiling, but I think that Vrabel and the coaching staff, I mean, for instance, talking to Doug Marrone yesterday, he, raved about he has two assistants, Hoftalling and Kugler, and he said the coaching situation in his room is the best he's ever been around. And he's been doing this for 35 years or something like that. And so I think Vrabel coupled with the coaches, I think it's very fair to expect a lot out of them, for them to get a lot out of this team. I think they are, from what I could tell from the being at practices, watching the film from the game, I think they're off to a really good start. I mean, I look across the board when you look at this team, and I would be hard-pressed to find somebody who hasn't gotten better from, whether it was the offseason practices into training camp, where, you're seeing people improve on a daily basis. You're seeing the technique and fundamentals being much stronger in the game, and I think that's because of Vrabel and his coaching staff.
Mike, we putting too much on Vrabel?
Yes, too much on Vrabel. I agree with what my brother Greg Bedard is saying here about the floor coming up. The floor has come up. And you got to say it, the difference between this training camp and last training camp is stark. It's not even worth comparing. It's so dramatic. Gerard Mayo, we know now. I didn't know at the time. Other people did. We know now he was so overmatched. He was so unprepared for the moment. And it's just shocking when you see a professional coach come in, as Greg said, with the professional staff, and see how they can affect every aspect of the operation. However, Colin Cowherd did say, Detroit, Dan Campbell. We're talking Detroit, Dan Campbell, talent-wise, where the Patriots are now. So, yeah, we look at Detroit now. Hey, they're a Super Bowl contender, but they weren't in year one. They weren't in year two. And I think that's where the Patriots are. Robert Kraft, I think, is out of his freaking mind when he talks about the Patriots and, hey, with Coach Vrabel, we're going to be competitive, and I'm really excited about the season. No, you should be excited about growth. You should not be excited about wins. You should not be excited about the playoffs. That ain't happening, baby. You got a long way to go. But Vrabel is a good agent of change and a culture setter, but the culture is not set yet.
Murray, you want to bite?
Yeah. I mean, to paraphrase our guy Colin Cowherd, with a coach like Mike Vrabel, the players are willing to pay in with sweat equity in the hopes that the payoff isn't cash, but championships. I think a red-ass or emotional lunatic who runs a tight ship but that is respected in the room can get your team to be better. He mentioned one of these guys it's worked with, Dan Campbell with Detroit. I think you saw it with someone years ago with, Tom Coughlin with the Giants, and even when he oversaw the Jaguars for a minute there, and then Bill Parcells. But at the end of the day, in today's NFL, you win more often than not with guys with teams that have better talent. The Eagles just proved this. Do any of us really respect Nick Sirianni? I think that guy's a clown.
Me too.
But they were the most talented team. Andy Reid, quarterback whisperer, offensive mastermind, offensive tactician. What the hell was he before Mahomes? So even Zach Taylor got to a Super Bowl. Why? Because he has Joe Burrow, who's probably the second best quarterback in the league. At the end of the day, you want to have more talent than a hard red-ass coach, but it does help. It does raise the floor. I agree with Greg on that.
So listen, let me say this. You can win championships with bad coaching and great talent. We've seen it a million times.
I mean, again, I just think it happened.
Right. Good. Sure. Sirianni's, I think, a case in point. The NBA, it happens all the time, okay? Including here, all right? We're really talented teams with bad coaching win championships. Happens in sports, happens in the NFL. You cannot win a championship with great coaching and bad talent. I agree with that. I think what Michael misses, or I'm surprised you don't think just on the basis of coaching, you don't think coaching can get you to level in the NFL, can get you to be a 500 team? Because that's what we're talking about. Say, I do?
No, not with this team. So I think, okay, let's see. I'll give you an example. Last year, Cincinnati, you mentioned Zach Taylor has got to the Super Bowl. Last year, they just missed out. I think with a good coach, they would have made the playoffs. So, that talent, they had a bad defense, great offense, Jamar Chase, Higgins, all that stuff. If you put a good coach on a 500 team, you can take that 500 team to a championship level. The Patriots, I think my argument against the Patriots is I still think their talent is bottom 10. I think they have bottom 10 talent in the league. And whoever you think the best coach is, I don't think the best coach can get them to the playoffs. Whoever the best coach is in the league. It's not Mike Vrabel. Who is it for you? Is it Andy Reid?
Sean
McVay? Sean McVay cannot get the Patriots to the playoffs right now. Probably could in 2 years, just like Vrabel. A year or two, but not right now.
I think you'll see this guy come really close, if not do it. And Greg, I think we're already seeing it. And I think the things that he's sort of emphasizing to start are the smart things to emphasize. They were not relying on talent. It's, sort of mindset and intangibles and head and heart and all that kind of crap, which doesn't win you championships. We're not talking championships. We're talking 9-8 and that third wild card. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Mike, and to that, I forget who said it first, but, there's a saying in the NFL, or, there were coaches, whether it was, I think it was Bill Walsh or maybe it was Jimmy Johnson, I don't know who, but, they basically said, like, there's 8 to 10 teams that are like
it was Jimmy. You're not competing against the whole league. You're really competing against like 10 teams who know what they're doing.
Because of poor ownership, mismanaged personnel, bad coaching. You can eliminate, about 20 teams in this league off the bat. The Patriots are now, thanks to Vrabel and what they're doing with personnel, which so far looks like they're off to a good start in terms of the guys they brought in the draft and free agency, and also what they're doing on the field. I think now the Patriots are, if they're not in that group of 10, they're like on the outside, 15, 16. We'll see where the ceiling is, but I think Vrabel and company bringing the Patriots up in terms of all of that, I think it does get them. I think they are in the conversation. I think you're underestimating how good this Patriots team can be. I think their talent level is better than what you think.
Oh, wow! How did that happen?
Mike, I think Mike is underestimating how relatively straightforward it is to get to the middle. I don't think I'm overrating the talent. I'll agree with Mike that the talent's not really there, but I think if you let other teams beat themselves, etc., blah blah blah, and you don't have complete horse crap at quarterback, okay. If you have complete horse crap at quarterback and your talent's bad, then okay, you're in trouble. But Drake May's good. And even if Drake May's good, Mike Vrabel's good, and the talent is subpar, that's enough to get to 500. I think you're overestimating what it takes to get to 9 wins. And I'll just tell you, I was encouraged by what I saw Friday night. Like, I watched that, and without overreacting to the situation, because obviously, it's the first preseason game, and obviously the Commanders weren't playing anybody, and I got it. But I don't know. I watched that, and I when you hear a coach say we want to do X, Y, and Z, and then you actually see X, Y, and Z, even in that setting, that's encouraging because that doesn't happen all the time, and not every coach can do that. And that happened, the way they finished their runs, the way they finished their tackles, just how hard they played. And finish their blocks, finish their runs. That was there from day one. And so that's sort of like, okay, he's got them. And those are the things that you can do. You don't have to have great talent to do those things. And so you just sort of add that all together. And I'm encouraged. And I think almost strictly on the strength of Vrabel and his staff and the approach, I feel stronger than ever that they're going to get back to the middle of the pack, Mike.
They'll get back there. Mike. I don't know if they'll get back there now. Let's say it this way, Greg. You're impressed with the talent level, or I'm underestimating the talent level on the team. I think when they do get back to a championship level in 2 years, most of the guys here, most of the guys on this roster will not be a part of it.
Yeah.
So Henderson will be here. Will Campbell will be here at guard. You caught that? Others. So other guys will be here, but Javon Baker's not going to be a part of it. Demario Douglas may not even be a part of it. Like some of those guys on defense won't be a part of it. So I think he has got. Mike Felger is right that he walks into the room and he gets immediate credibility. Immediate. As soon as he walks in, you pay attention to what he's saying. You buy into the program. I can see evidence of it. It shows up. It probably jumps off the tape. Mm-hmm. What the guys are doing, they're absorbing his coaching. I just don't think they have enough to affect the rest of the league.
Well, I mean, my counter argument would be, and look, I know there's some differences in Jim will say the quarterback. There's also Terry McLaurin. But if you go back to last year, the Commanders and what they did, and the Patriots basically copied their offseason, you look at that team, they were not very talented. They really weren't. And they went from 4 wins to 12 in the NFC Championship game. But the thing that stood out to me, I probably the most shocking thing to me with the preseason game was I couldn't believe that already in game number 1, they're already playing in the image of their head coach already. And they still have time before the regular season starts and we have the season. I mean, that they showed the way that they did and the difference between last year in terms of operation and penalties and not doing stupid stuff outside of Drake May's, fumble. It was shocking to me that already they're in the image and doing exactly what Mike Vrabel laid out from his very first press conference.
So I wasn't shocked. On Friday I said this, that the one thing I wanted to see was just, can you already sense something from Vrabel on a very base level in game 1 of the preseason? Because I've seen it before. Mike, I don't know if you were there. You probably were. Belichick's first preseason game, it was in Canton. They played the Hall of Fame game that year in 2000.
Played the Niners. I think they played the Niners, didn't they?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because it wasn't Carmazzo.
That's right.
Wasn't he on the other side? They picked Brady over. But either way, I just remember that game because I covered the last year under Pete, where it just all sort of fallen apart. And that first game, just the way they came out of the huddle and lined up and came off the line of scrimmage, you could feel it. And they weren't very good either at all. I mean, they ended up winning 5 games, but you could just sort of see immediately someone who knew what they were doing had taken over and the team was listening, and just a very small little first step. And I really do think we saw that on Friday. And I think we saw it in a pretty definitive way. So I am in on Vrabel. I am on him making the difference of getting them back into respectability and back into contention, if not the playoffs. But I'm not the one that takes it too far. Like you just can't. And maybe I learned my lesson on this. A great coach cannot take a swaggy roster to a championship. It doesn't work that way. The 2001 Patriots, the talent on that team was better than we realized at the time. We all know that now. A handful of Hall of Famers on that team. And we didn't recognize it then. But we do now. So the talent was there. You can't win championships without the talent. I'm not saying that. You can win games, though. You can make the playoffs. Again, especially if your quarterback's good. And he is good, right? Okay, all right.
I think we need to talk about that.
That was Greg, not me, for the record.
I like the way you do that. Hey, can somebody tell me quickly? You said 1,000 times, and you're right, Mike. 1,000 times that we've seen teams that go from just okay talent good talent, bad coaching, win a championship. Yeah, it happens. Definitely, we've seen it happen. But have you seen a team go from the worst record in the league, which is what the Patriots had? On a technicality, they didn't, but they really did. We all know it. Yep. They shouldn't have won that last game. So they're the worst team in football. They should have had the number 1 seed, number 1 pick. So have you seen a team go from worst team in the league to make the playoffs?
Let me workshop that. Let me workshop that.
Commanders, they weren't the worst team in the league, though.
Pretty close.
But I'm saying
they were right there.
Like number 1, the Commanders had what? They were right there. They had 2.
There were 3 or 2, right?
2. But the team that is the worst, so Tennessee Titans of last year. So last year's Titans, technically the worst team, and then they come back and make the playoffs.
Right.
That rarely happens.
Like I said, let me break. Let me listen out there. You want Boston Sports Inf, one of my stat guys, help me out. Go ahead. Give me some examples of last place teams that the next year
in football
moved up to the middle of the league. Right.
I know football. A lot of them in basketball, but in